going on? We're all preemptively on it. What's up? How is everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. And this is Sabrina Victoria, her talk show. We have Debbie on the line, my co-host, and Heather Eck as our guest today. We are going to be talking all about life and entrepreneurship. We're super excited about the topics that we're going to be discussing today. We're taking a different angle to start with. I'm super excited about this. It's kind of like an interpretation movement type reel that we're going to be looking at that was super inspiring. I was literally like teary-eyed while watching it. So super excited about that. Just kind of giving us a visual of the highs and the lows of entrepreneurship. A lot of times we're just like, oh, entrepreneurship should just like look like this. And it motherfucking does not. So we're gonna watch something super inspirational with that, and then share our feedback on our feelings regarding that. Debbie brought a really great topic around the conversation of trauma that I'm really excited to talk about because I have gone through my healing journey. And then lastly, we're going to be discussing speaking. So Debbie and I both attended Elevate 2026, run by Alexandra Labar down here in South Florida. This week, it was amazing, but we saw speakers. We saw so many speakers. And we can tell who has gone to training of some sort for speaking and who has not. And it really shows up in the way that they present and the way that they speak. So one of the things that we're going to be covering today, which I'm super excited about, is filler words, something that I have worked diligently on. I'm still working on consistently, but the ums and the uhs of the world. And we have somebody very intelligent that's going to be speaking quickly. These are all little reels on, speaking of ums, on how to, or why it's important to be working on that, All right. So before we jump in, just a quick reminder, Emily Tassoni and I are running a retreat April 23rd through the 26th. We have 2 spots open. We would love for you to join us if it is something that would interest you. And I'm trying to, as I speak, find the link here, emilytassoni.com/the-retreat is in the link below. If it is something that you're interested in joining us with, we would love to have you there. Airbnb in Georgia. Debbie's actually attending with us. So if you listen to us live here, you get to see us both in real life, which would be absolutely amazing. All right, ladies, enough. Let's jump in. All right, we already have so many people here live. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for being here. Just so you know, you can comment below. So wherever your watch is at, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, we're connected in 6 different spots right now. Comment below and we can actually pull your comment on screen and you can talk with us live here, which would be awesome. We're here every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern live. Make sure that you join us. Always great conversations with brilliant women. We talk about topics that are shaping our entrepreneurial journey in order to empower women business owners to make smarter, bolder decisions for your business. All right, let's get to it. Our very first reel, ladies, I am so excited about this. I just think that this is so stinking cool and definitely just a great reminder to us. So this is grief. This man made to explain visually what grief looks like. And when I saw this, all I saw was entrepreneurship. So when we are listening to this, the lady business owners, I want you to really think and envision your journey of entrepreneurship, and just really realize that we are all going through this. This is real life right here of entrepreneurship. And once we get done watching this, we will open it up for the ladies to be able to speak and share what kind of came up for them, whether they want to share a story or their own thoughts on this. Here we go. Oop. Oh, dude, I shouldn't be watching this when I'm on my period. Oh my gosh, where did Debbie go?
She popped off. I don't know. Hopefully she'll be back.
Oh, dude, I just cannot. Quite honestly, just immediately within seconds got the chills from this. And this actually brings me back to a time in my car where I was just contemplating like finances, just contemplating finances. Like, dude, are we really going to just keep doing this? And there's a decision that has to be made as an entrepreneurship of an all in yes. An all in yes, that yes, absolutely, I am fully committing to this and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to the level of. And it's a big, huge decision. It's a big, huge step when it comes to this. And I say that with a caveat of still doubt.
Mm.
Still doubt, right? I was just talking to somebody today actually on a networking call. She's been in her business for 2 years. I'm trying to get her to join H Club. And she's like, yeah, every single day. I'm just like, I'm going back to corporate. I'm going back to corporate. And it's like, girl, same. Girl, same. And then you have to keep showing up.
Yeah.
You have to keep showing up. You have to keep promoting, keep marketing, keep talking to people, and keep allowing individuals to know the value of which you can give to the world. And the more that we talk and the more that we explain, the better people can conceptualize how valuable the product or services is that you have to offer, and the more likelihood that you are to capture those prospects. Okay, came up for you, Heather.
Well, one, I just want to say thank you for your vulnerability in saying that, because I think so many of us just think that when you step into entrepreneurship, it's just going to be, you're going to hit your, all of the, what's it called? The 10K months and your 6 figures and your everything. And man, it is not that way. I think that there are so many times where I think about going back to corporate, but I also remember how that felt too. And so this is hard as well. It's a different kind of hard, but I would choose this hard over that hard any day. And I see that video always makes me emotional when I see it too. And the music is so moving as well. And I could just listen to it forever. But I think about my journey as an entrepreneur in an entrepreneur role and as an artist. I feel like an actor sometimes who's auditioning, that you have to keep auditioning for roles until you get that one that hits. So sometimes for me, it's a numbers game. It's a roller coaster. And I can measure the amount that I get back by the amount that I put out. And so now I'm learning how to manage my energy level when it comes to effort, because I know that the more effort that I put in each day, that I choose to put in, is what I get back in return, especially because, making and selling art and talking to people about it is a numbers game. The more people who know about you, the more people who may want to collect your work. So it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you're mentioning the word hard. One of the things that I talk about often is they're corporate and entrepreneur. They're both hard. It's just, which hard do you want? It looks easier on the corporate side, but when you get in there, you have to schedule time off. You can't just take off when you feel sick. You can't just decide to take a nap in the middle of the day. When your children need you to pick up, you can't necessarily do that. If it's a last minute thing, their tummy hurts, you have to go to the boss, you have to ask for permission. All of the anxiety that comes with asking for vacation time, or my menstrual cycle's heavy, or whatever it is an added stress. And then every single day you have to get up at that time and be at work every single day. So yeah, it could on this end right now look more glorifying, but when you get there, it's also hard. So it's a commitment. It's just, do you want to work hard for somebody else, or do you want to work just as hard for you? If we all we talk often about how entrepreneurship for women is different than entrepreneurship for men. Yes. And if you're going back to corporate and you're deciding, hey, I'm going to go back to a 9 to 5, girl, well, are you working 8 hours on your business as an entrepreneur first? I don't know.
That's right.
You know, are you doing that first? Are you trying out what it would be like and what would happen if you actually worked for a solid 8 hours Monday through Friday on your business? Or are you only working 3 hours a day on your business, saying that it's not working and then deciding to go back to corporate where you're working 8 hours? And this is the thing, 8 hours in corporate is not 8 hours because there's also the commute.
Right.
It's usually more like 9 to 10 hours when you really to take into consideration everything. So that was really my turning point, when I was looking at both, really contemplating it, I'm like, what would happen if I just worked a solid 10 hours on my business? What if every day, Monday through Friday, I just worked a solid 10 hours, just figured it out? Maybe it was 4, 2, and then 5, or whatever. But what would that actually look like? And when I decided to start putting in the actual corporate hours into my business, I started making money. And that's what a lot of times it is we leave corporate, we're like, fuck the 9 to 5. We're like, we're going to make our own hours. And then your own hours is really only 3 hours. And then you're drowning. Girl.
I think, I agree. I think that sometimes what's hard too,
we have to have with ourselves,
Right. Yeah.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
I think what is hard sometimes when you step out of corporate is that you don't quite know how to spend your time always, because when you do have that corporate structure, you might have your standing meeting every Monday at 8:30 and you're like, I've got to be here for this. And then I know I've got this meeting. And so it's a completely different mindset for how you manage your day and how you structure your day to be doing activities that are contributing to the growth of your business or revenue generating activities or whatever it is that you need to be doing in order to move your business along. And I think for a lot of people who get into that first couple of months as an entrepreneur, don't quite know what they should be doing or what it looks like, or even how to spend their time. And I think that can be where some of the roller coaster comes in for people too.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that take on it, and definitely something that we all need to analyze ourselves.
Yeah.
Analyze on our own. It's not for anybody else to say or to judge or to grade. It's just, what do you want to be doing? Do you want to work for yourself? And if you do, work. And if you want to work for corporate, then work for corporate. There's no judgment. No one isn't better than the other.
Nope.
Yeah. But when you do choose entrepreneurship, like you said, there's so much, when you think of a business, and what you did at a corporate job, you did usually one singular thing, maybe two. There's an HR department, there's a customer service department, there's a marketing department, there's a sales department, you're all of it. You're all of it. And then you're wanting to do all of it in 4 hours. Girl, that's not a fucking thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
Gotta give. Right.
And then we're making ourselves feel bad, like, oh, it's not working. I'm not making $10,000 a month yet. Yeah, girl. Yeah. Because you're doing the job of 6 people in a dental office, you have 6 different jobs that are all working 8 hours a day. And you're trying to do all that in 4. Girl, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And that's sometimes a tough thing to conceptualize. The other thing that I really like what you said about the $10,000 months, I just put a post up today, actually, that said, just because you see an ad that said, I made $2 million, doesn't mean that person didn't spend $3 million in ads. That's one thing that we really have to be aware of, ladies, when we're buying into some of these gurus that are supposedly having $10,000 months or $2,000 a year, $2 million years or more. How much are they spitting out in advertisements? How much are they spitting out in marketing?
Yeah.
It's a totally different budget than what we're dealing with, when we're just starting out in our entrepreneurial journey. So just really being aware of that and leaving room for that space in your mind so that we don't have so much pressure on ourselves.
I agree with that.
Love it. All right. I feel bad getting into what Debbie wrote. Debbie said she's trying to come back on. I don't know if we should go into hers or I should skip it. Let's skip it. And wait to see if we can get her in here before. Okay. So we're going to go a little out of order. The next reel we're going to watch is something that I am currently working on. So one of the things that has helped me with my filler words is my podcast. So running a podcast and then listening to my podcast back to really grade the way that I speak, and the way that I show up, the way that the little idiosyncrasies of people's voice. And what really got me doing this was the amount of individuals that I have interviewed, and their speak just irritates the fuck out of me. I'm just like, dude, I cannot with your voice. I cannot with your tone or your monotone or your buoyantness or your ums and your uhs or your uncertain. It's so much. And just having to sit and having to listen to somebody speak for like 5 to 7 minutes straight on whatever that question is, and just in my head being like, damn, this is so bad. Really helped me hone in on, where am I irritating people? Where am I pissing people off? Where am I looking weak, as if I don't know what I'm doing or what I'm saying? And that kind of forced me into a thought process of, I really need to start paying attention to it. And actually, now that I think about it, this is the guy. He has, let me pull him up on screen. He has a spiel where he talks about, if you want to get better at speaking, I think it's 3, and correct me anybody if this is wrong, for those of you listening live. He says, record yourself speaking in front of people. Then do 3 things. 1, turn the volume off and just watch yourself. How you move your hands, how you're moving around, your facial expressions, any weirdness that you do. Then turn the sound off. Then turn the sound up, but turn the phone over. So you can't see yourself, but all you can do is hear yourself. And then the third one is, I don't know what the third one is. Maybe there's only 2. But the idea is, when you take away one thing, how does the other thing look? And is it congruent to each other? Or maybe the other one is just listen to it fully. What you see yourself and when you can hear yourself. Maybe that might be the first one. So watch it fully by itself, then turn the sound off, then take the visual out. That might be the 3. And that is actually something that I also did I haven't done that in a while, but a long time ago. And he was actually the one, now that I'm remembering, that talks about that online. Okay. Let's share. This is so good. Okay.
Does it matter to remove the clutter words? The like, as, why does it matter? I'll give you an example of it.
This is so good.
If I, was taking you through like the core, vocal foundations, it decreases the clarity of the message. It's okay to have some, be human. I get it. It's not about none, but it's about having some and not have your speech littered with it.
Is it easy to overcome that?
Yeah, it is. Because to get rid of that bad habit, you just need to learn a new habit. And the new habit is pause. So the very moment you feel like saying, we're not lagging, we're just pausing, right? You pause. And that's why, as part of the vocal foundations, you have to learn to be comfortable with what we're doing right now, just pausing. And it's okay.
Why does it matter to remove
Dude, so good.
That is so good.
Yes, it's so good. And what a great live example. What a great live example that he did there. So this is something, like I said, that I have been working on consistently. And the pause is something that I have absolutely adapted, especially in my sales, because a lot of times we get so like wrapped up in, I'm interested in getting this person into my service, into my program, into my whatever we're trying to do. And we get nervous. And then all of a sudden it starts turning into ums and uhs and likes and all of that stuff. And so one of the things that I have learned to master, I feel like I've become really good at it, is just pausing. So whenever I don't know what to say, I can't think of the next thing, I'm uncertain, I get a little fearful, a little stressed, I just stop talking. And what the pause does through my learnings in in diving into this subject is the pause actually creates authority. So what we think is like, oh, I don't want to sound stupid. I don't want to look like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to pause. It actually holds space for authority. And so, yeah, so that's one thing that I've learned, and one thing that I have successfully adapted. What's your take?
I love it. I have been practicing this as well. In the last few years, I've done a lot of podcast guesting. And so, like you, I've had the opportunity to listen to myself be interviewed, and also I have a podcast. So I've been able to listen to myself talking and asking questions. And I notice patterns and behaviors in my speak where I will ask a question and sort of trip over my thoughts a little bit. And so I've been practicing pausing, or I'll even say instead of or it's the gives me a pause, but it's not silent. But I do think that you're 100% right. The pause allows you to build authority. And I also think that pause is really powerful because people don't always know how to handle a pause. I think we're so used to hearing things. Even if I listen to a podcast, I've generally got it at 1.5 times speed. We're so used to just a steady stream of language that when you pause, it makes the other person say, should I be saying something here? Or it gives them time to respond too. So.
Yes. And good point. What this actually, to dive into some of the things that I have learned, when you pause, you actually bring people back toward you. And a really good example is kind of what Heather is saying here, where I don't know if you guys have done this, where you're listening to a podcast and there's a pause that's a little too long. And then you're like, did it turn off? And then you like go back. Like I listen to all my podcasts on YouTube. So there's like a visual aspect to it. So it'll pause and I'll be like, and I'll walk over to it to see if it's like still live or moving. And it was just a really long pause. So that, right, as a real life example of something I do, is what basic human habit is. When someone pauses for a little too long, people will reconnect and they'll be like, wait, what is she? What? And you actually bring people back into you when you do a longer pause, what's called a pregnant pause. Is a little bit longer than a normal pause. But anyways, Debbie, anything on filler words, ums, uhs, likes, or pausing? Because he's talking about how instead of saying ums, likes, uhs, learn to pause. Any feedback? Oh, is she broke? Oh, I feel so bad for her. Oh,
poor Debbie.
And we're just about to get into her thing. Anything else on this? I'm trying to think. Did I have any other notes on this? Learn to pause. Nothing really. I'm trying to think if I have like a story. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that this is something that you can practice even as an active listening as well, because I think sometimes we're listening to answer somebody or to be prepared with our response, but I think it gives you an opportunity to even just pause and listen more attentively so that you know how to respond to somebody too. So I think this is a really important skill to learn and to practice.
And I think as women too, and you might share or disagree with this, but for me, I feel as if women a lot of times feel like they have to really hurry up. Like when they have a thought or they have something to say, they have to like hurry up and say the thing really, really fast. And I don't know if that's because we think someone's going to cut us off, or if we're like worried that we're annoying. Like no one wants to hear me, therefore let me hurry up and talk really, really fast. And sometimes that can also lag in us feeling comfortable pausing, which is why filler words of ums and ahs just really quickly are stuffed in there, because we don't want to actually pause and take the time to figure out what is the next sentence of which, or the next thought of which I want to fill in here. We're just trying to shove it in as quickly as possible before we get cut off, someone gets annoyed or bored with us or whatever it is. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking about listening to somebody explain something sometimes when you're not sure or you're not feeling confident in what you're sharing, you will sometimes over explain it or use a lot of words even that don't you've already said it, now you're just saying it in a different way because you maybe don't feel like it was heard or understood or the person hasn't responded yet. And that I think that's something that I'm learning to pay attention to in myself too, is to just say the thing and let it land without feeling like I have to go back and say, and the reason I'm saying this is because just let it land and be okay with that. And I have a really good friend of mine who, when she would explain something and she would start to pause, she would say, I'm pausing because I'm thinking about this and I want to make sure I explain
Mhm.
it. And I love that. Number one, it gives me a little insight into her thought process, but also I think it gives it sort of like is a permission to pause and help somebody understand where you're coming from. And I just
Absolutely.
really love that little tactic.
Absolutely. Yes, that is so nice. And that really reminds me of over communicating, something that I've been working on for the last year only in all aspects of my life, specifically my relationship. But it totally helps to over explain things, not in a ridiculous way, but just in a way to allow people to understand where you're at that moment mentally. Girl, I love that.
You too.
Great insight to you and her. I want to ask before we go to the new subject, as far as this goes, the pause, does any of that relay into your work, your paintings, your creativity? Is there any talk ever around sitting in moments, pausing? How does that kind of reflect into the work that you do?
Thank you for asking that. I think, yes, it really does now that I'm thinking about it, because there are times where if I am showing somebody a portrait of what I've created for them, I will sometimes want to over explain in a way to help them understand without always giving them time to just to see it and react and respond. And I'm learning so much from this conversation because I'm thinking about that now in terms of here's your painting, just take a second without me saying, here's your painting and here's your color and here's what it means and here's what came through and here's what blah, blah, blah. And just like breathing a little bit because I can get a little nervous when it comes to presenting that and just need to give somebody a little time. So I'm going to practice this more.
Totally see that. Yeah, because they're like judging it, or you're nervous that they're judging it.
100%.
In
Yeah.
a way.
Yeah.
Oh, something just came up. Oh, I forgot it. Um, okay, we're talking about paintings, pausing, presenting. I lost it.
It's okay.
I lost it.
It'll
Oh, it
come
was so good. But yeah, as far as the paint, what about as far as while someone else is painting? Is there a pause in that as far as taking your time and not feeling rushed?
I think that this pause can apply to so much of our lives. Honestly, now that you've just asked that question, it's making me think about all of the different scenarios where a pause or not needing to fill the time or fill the space can be like a balm to the soul when you just kind of take a second. I think in conversations when somebody's painting, just giving yourself a moment to look at something, to take a pause, to take a break, to walk away, and just kind of give it some fresh space is really important for people
Yeah.
in every area of their life, really. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you can apply that everywhere now that we're talking about it.
Yeah, it kind of is very much related. I'm just thinking of, like, for instance, the ums and the ahs and the filler words, in creativity, for instance, feeling like you have to just hurry up, paint, get it done, fill it in, you know, just whatever,
Mhm.
versus allowing yourself to take your time and really let the vision take place as to where you're going with it. I could actually totally see, I'm like envisioning myself painting girl, I would be a total and uhs painter. Just like, I don't even fucking know. That's part of it, would just be like that. I could see how the importance of taking your time and letting the vision really take place would be advantageous to creating something not only that was like super special, like here, but also just a lot more visually pleasing.
I agree with that. In fact, today I was working on a painting and it had a background and the background needed to dry. And I remembered feeling like I can rush this today. I can heat it, I can dry it and just keep moving, or I can literally take a 15-minute break, let it dry, and then come back. And I did a mix of both. I'll be honest with you. I did hit it with the heater for a minute or two, and then I said, no, go have lunch, give yourself a moment, and then come back and start working on it. So I think that it is when you just give yourself a little bit of space or give a process a little bit of space, like you mentioned in your sales calls, pausing and just giving somebody time. I think that it's a really valuable skill that I think we've sort of lost touch or sight of in a culture where we can move everything at 2 times speed and we are wanting things to move quickly and feeling like we have to fill the air. We have to fill the space.
Absolutely. I remembered what I was going to say. Thank you for speaking. You were speaking about presenting your painting to a customer and having to explain it right away. It jolted in my mind a woman who had come into a room. She was an improv, Julie Cotton. She does improv and helps people with their communication skills. And she uses improv to do that. And afterwards, I had spoken to her and we had done this whole project. I was, oh my gosh, that was so amazing. Oh, it was so good. By the way, you never shared what the learning was, like what the takeaway was of the, I don't remember anymore. She goes, there is no takeaway. And I was like, I got a takeaway. And she's like, yeah, that's the takeaway. She's like, I don't have a takeaway. You create your own takeaway. So I don't use my interpretation of what I think you should get out of it. My job was just to present it to you and you create your own takeaway. And I was like, damn, that is freaking good. But that's what came up for me regarding your paintings is like, yeah, holding space would actually be great and not telling you how to present, but it might even be advantageous to be like, what's coming up for you? And then whatever that is the takeaway.
Yeah. That's actually really
so
smart.
Baffled by it. I was expecting for her to say something like super profound. I was like, oh yeah, I did forget. You're right. This, and I was gonna be like, oh girl, that's so good. But she was like, there wasn't one. I was like, the fuck? What do you mean? And then I told her, I was like, what do you mean? I gotta take. She goes, there you go. Exactly. Everyone has a different one. It's not for me. So anyways, I wanted to share that with you. That's what
Thank you. Yes. I love that. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And it was baffling for me just in that scenario. I can't even imagine how much more impactful it could be possibly to somebody that was interpreting their own of what you envisioned for them through the painting. Like to let them do it, it might become even more heartfelt because you're making them read it themselves.
Yeah.
Look at us.
I know, Sabrina, you might have to be a little tester of that
cool. Absolutely.
strategy.
I love it. All right, let's go to our last one. We were waiting for Debbie, but she is MIA. She's having some issues with her connectivity, it looks like. All right. So this is the one that Debbie brought to us. Debbie is a health and wellness coach. She's absolutely phenomenal. One of the things that she talks about is how important it is for us to be mindful of our health and wellness, because if we don't have our health and wellness, then we can't run a business successfully. So we have to watch our health and wellness. That should be the pinnacle of our business first, before we are actually running our business. So today she is bringing to us mental and emotional health, which is not normal for her. So I was super excited about this. It's by Dr. Gabor Mate, I believe. When trauma gets triggered, you don't act your age, you act the age the wound was created. Oh. Okay, that sudden shutdown, that disproportionate reaction, that silence or outburst you couldn't explain, that wasn't the adult you, it was the younger version of you still wanting to be seen, soothed, and safe. Healing isn't about judging the reaction, it's about meeting the age that's speaking. Oh my gosh, that's so good. What part of you is asking to be witnessed today? Debbie, thank you for bringing this to us. One of the things that has really helped me in my healing journey is when I learned about inner child work. So I didn't hear about inner child work until I was probably maybe 5 years into my healing journey. And when this hit me, I was like, dude, this changes everything. And one of the things that I have done that I started doing over the course of a couple of years after learning this is really tuning into every Sabrina that has ever lived. So I believe that I have a Sabrina inside of me for every year that I've ever lived. A 1, a 2, a 5, a 7, a 13, a 17, a 21, a 30, a 39, a 41-year-old Sabrina. And every year they did the best that they could do. And they have gotten me to where I am right now. And so I have done my best to put my Sabrinas inside like a house. And each one of them is doing something that they should have been doing at that age that maybe they weren't doing. Right? So like I got pregnant at the age of 20. I had my first child, or my only child, at the age of 21. What I believe my 21-year-old Sabrina actually desired to be doing at 21, she was not doing at 21. She was trying to be a single broke ass mom, barely able to survive, right? Mm-hmm. So I have successfully put every single Sabrina in a room, and she's doing the thing of which she was supposed to be doing at that age. And every once in a while, one of my Sabrinas gets triggered, and I know exactly what she looks like and what she sounds like and how to comfort her in order to retake over a scenario as myself, a 43-year-old Sabrina. So I'm really good at reflecting when I feel her coming up in me with crying, emotion, freaking out, screaming, whatever she's coming up with. I am now very good at talking to her and being like, I got you, girl. I got you. And allowing myself to mother her in a way of which she had not had any sort of support previously. And so I really appreciate this. What came up for you with this?
I really think that we all have a core wound. You know, we have a core wound. It's something that we are constantly greeting the world with. And for me, it is acceptance. I constantly greet the world with my please accept me wound. And I think that that is something that always, whether I'm aware of it or not, is sort of affecting the decisions that I make in every area of my life, including my business, which is, it's so interesting. So I always think about when I get triggered around acceptance, how do I choose to respond? Because I get to choose. If I'm aware of it, do I want to greet it from a place of pain, or do I want to greet it from a place of healing or actively working on changing that behavior? So I sort of joke and say, oh, I'm a recovering people pleaser, but it's true. I think that a lot of the things that I've done in my life and in my business have sort of centered around this idea of wanting to be liked and accepted and to please everybody around me. And so this is something that I work on constantly. And it's very clear to me where there are still places for improvement in my day-to-day.
Yeah.
Day-to-day. I love the compartmentalizing, putting your Sabrinas in houses. I think that's so clever. And I might try to do that young Heather, with little baby
Yes.
Heather. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it really is. And each one of them, I actually got the idea from, have you ever heard of the guy who can memorize, I don't want to lie, but like he can memorize like a hundred names in a room?
Oh no.
It might even be more than that, but I apologize if it's less than that. Yeah, so he's known for memorizing names. And what he does is, so he did like a test run where let's just say it was 100. Okay. So 100 people were in line and they all walked into, like, let's say a networking event. Okay. So he meets every single one of them, Heather, Billy, Debbie, whatever, and like greets them and handshakes them. And then they just walk in and that's it. Okay. And then once it's all done, they're all mingling for, I don't know, whatever. And then he's like, then they test him. And he goes through and he goes, that. And they're like, how did you do that? And he puts them all in a room. He puts them all in a house. Sorry. He puts them all in a house. And so, and doing different things, right? So somebody was maybe wearing yellow. Mm-hmm. So he'll put like the person wearing yellow and the person wearing orange in one room. And then he'll like make something that like makes sense for that room in conjunction with their names. And then maybe ethnicity, maybe curly hair, maybe kids, maybe whatever it is. But they're all doing something that kind of correlates to like their name. So if it was like Alexandra, she might be like carrying an axe. Right? If it was like George, he might have a monkey next to him. And he like connects them in certain rooms, doing certain things that are in connection to their name. Oh my God. And that's how he remembers them. For instance, if there's maybe like two Georges, he'll like put the two Georges together and might like connect them to the two Georges moving company. Right. That's like a thing here. I just made that up, but like that's here in Florida. It's moving company. So anyways, I listened to that and I used that for my inner child. And I was like, I'm going to put every single one of my Sabrinas in a huge house in their own room, doing whatever makes them happy and wearing whatever they want to wear. And they all take care of each other. And then I, the current Sabrina, whoever that is, which is me today, is the one who mans the house, you know, make sure that they all stay calm and regulated and they know that I'm taking care of them.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, me too. Well, this was phenomenal. Super, super, super awesome. Do you ever do trauma work with your painting?
I don't have any training in trauma-informed therapeutic art, but it's something that I'm thinking about doing because it seems like it's everything that I do in the art world is based around healing anyway. So I think it has room there and I'd love to learn more about it for sure.
Love it. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, this has been phenomenal. Lots of awesome conversation today. For those of you listening live, thank you so much for being here, hanging out with us. Any closing thoughts, Heather, as we wrap up?
This was so great. I feel like there's so much that we're talking about in terms of the roller coaster and about practicing and thinking about ways to show up for ourselves and our businesses each day and knowing that we're all just a work in progress, you know, to be really lovely and gentle with ourselves and to be kind and to just show up each day and try and do a little bit more and pat yourself on the back a little bit more when you have a big win and just ride that roller coaster or bounce off that trampoline and keep going.
Absolutely.
Keep going.
Absolutely. Love that. All right, ladies, thanks so much for being here, hanging out with us. Remember, entrepreneurship is not linear, ladies. It is all over the place, and that's okay. That's the way it's supposed to be. We have to learn to move with it rather than resist it. We touched on trauma. We touched on communication and the importance of making sure that we're sounding polished. When we sound polished, we sound confident, we're present, and we're fully aligned with what we are saying. And that's what our clients, what our prospects are really looking for us from. So thank you to everyone who shared their well, thank you to Heather for sharing your insight today. And thank you for those of you that joined us live. Always great to see you here. We will be here next Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern with some new topics to cover. Always a good time.